maui no e ka ui.
E pule kako. Ka puli no ka malu malu, ka pule lo kahi. Ka mālama lama o ke akua e ho'opuni mai ia kako. Ke aloha o ke akua e kipuni mai ia la kako. Ka mana o ke akua e ho'opakele mai ia kako. Ke alo o ke akua e mālama mai ia kako. Makahi a kako a hele akua e he akua no. Amen. A prayer for unity and protection. The light of ke akua surrounds us. The love of ke akua enfolds us. The power of ke akua protects us. The presence of ke akua watches over us. Wherever we are, ke akua is. Melina and aloha mai kako. Most of you know me. For those who don't, my name is Claudia Kalaola, aka Auntie Claudia. I'm the current po'o or chairperson for the network and also a director, vice president for Namamo Mo'olea. Mahalo for joining our Zoom presentation of the 4th episode of the Maui Nui Makai Mālama i ke Kai speaker series. We are thrilled that we are able to bring presentations to you, led by such respected and distinguished guests. Tonight will not disappoint, so enjoy. And now I'll turn it over to Karen Osuga, the network's coordinator. Karen.
Mahalo, Auntie Claudia. Aloha, everyone. My name is Karen Osuga. I'm the coordinator for the Maui Nui Makai Network. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Tonight we have some incredible speakers, but before I introduce them, I do want to share really quickly about the Maui Nui Makai Network and the speaker series for anyone who might not be so familiar with us. The Maui Nui Makai Network is a network of seven community groups across Maui Nui, and we now have four supporting organizations, which is really exciting. We just added a new member supporting organization. And our mission is to connect communities across Maui Nui to care for and restore healthy ecosystems on which Hawaii's people depend. And our purpose is to share and learn from each other's diverse experiences, lessons, and best practices to help member sites care for their Makai areas. This Mālama i ke Kai speaker series is our most recent effort aiming to inspire and inform Hawaii's community leaders. And it's a companion to our Mālama i ke Kai community action guide, which we released in 2020. Topics explored here will include case studies, experiences of Indigenous and local community management of marine areas, co-management, replenishment and protected areas planning, and community engagement, and more. The speaker series is held monthly on the third Thursday, and it's free to the public. So please mark your calendars and spread the word for anyone who might be interested. You can also follow us on Instagram or check out our website for more info and updates. A couple housekeeping items before we get into the main part of our evening. During the presentation, please stay on mute to minimize any noise disruptions. If you have any questions that come to mind, you can either save them for the Q&A portion later on, or you can type them into the chat, and we'll get to as many as we can at the end. All right, so now for our awesome speakers. This evening, we have Uncle Mac Poepoe. Many of you, I'm sure, know Uncle Mac. He's a Lavaia and Konohiki practitioner from Molokai who has dedicated his life to ensuring that the ocean will be well stocked for generations to come. Uncle Mac has spent a lifetime putting traditional fishing practices and resource management into action on Molokai's northern coast. As a lifelong student of our environment, Uncle Mac looks at the interconnection between species, ecosystems, people, and how they're evolving and adapting to change. He'll share how he incorporates Kanaka Science to support Aloha ʻāina in our changing climate. We also have Kehau Springer with us this evening. Kehau is a Aloha ʻāina born and raised in the surf at Kalehua Ve'e. I'm so sorry if I say these wrong. And the Hia reigns of Kaimuki, Oahu. She is a mother of two, where she and her husband are raising their ohana in Kahau'alea, Puna, Hawaii. She attended UH Hilo and has a bachelor's in Hawaiian studies from Kahakaʻula o Ke'elikolani and an MS in tropical conservation biology that focused on the cultural use and ecology of opihi at Kalaupapa National Historical Park on the island of Molokai. Kehau has experience and enjoys working with keiki and ohana through Aina-based learning programs like CI Hawaii's flagship program, Lavaia Ohana Camps and Mohala na Konohiki. Over the last 10 years, she worked for CI Hawaii as the Coastal Community Capacity Development Advisor. Her role is to support, uplift, and engage individuals and communities to collaboratively care for their coastal resources by co-developing monitoring programs for their areas, training the next generation of Aloha ʻāina, and facilitating discussions around pono fishing practices, monitoring, rules, and management. And last but not least, we have Pekelo Lind, who is having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully we can get him on by the time it's his chance to speak. Pekelo was born and raised in Kipahulu, Maui. He grew up fishing, farming, and hunting. Having his father as a mentor, Pekelo learned the importance of sustainable practices at a young age. Currently, Pekelo is an outreach specialist and program assistant for the Kipahulu Ohana, a grassroots Hawaiian 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the cultural sustainability of the Kipahulu Moku through educational programs. Pekelo is a loving partner and father of 3 children. He's dedicated to perpetuating a simple Hawaiian lifestyle through community, education, outreach, and collaboration with various community members and organizations aim to ensure an abundance of resources for generations to come. So those are our 3 amazing speakers. I'm going to hand it over to them now to share their presentation with you.
Hello, my kako. Just give us some grace today. We do have some technical difficulties on different ends, and I think, you know, kupuna interventions gotta come in. So just good to see all of your faces and your names familiar, and others that are joining us tonight. As Karen had mentioned, my name is Kehau, and I'm just really glad to have been working with Uncle Mac and Pekelo over the past few months, and Uncle Mac for many years. Just kind of on this journey for us to kind of dive into, okay. And then let me just full screen. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, let me just pull you guys up. Yeah, so the title of our talk tonight, Indigenous equals Ingenious, Kanaka Science to support Aloha ʻāina. And this is, you know, definitely a journey that we're all on together. And I know many of you in the audience are on similar journeys as well. But I mahalo Uncle as our kumu, just being able to set the example, set the path for us to get on, and being able and open to share all your knowledge, so that we can, you know, uplift and make our kupuna proud. And I love, you know, just having Pekelo in this space as well, because he is, you know, apprentice under his own ohana, but with Uncle Mac as well, and just being able to be a part of the Mohala na Konehiki journey, and, you know, gonna share some of the work and fruitfulness of this endeavors that we have. So next slide. You know, climate change is a huge topic nowadays. You know, we are seeing so many changes around us, natural changes, social changes. You know, right now, you know, it's sort of, it gives us a time to pause and think about, okay, what are we gonna do, as we encounter all of these things. I think one, definitely still continue to Mālama and Aloha ʻāina and aloha each other, as, you know, there's different social things happening around, but this only allows us to kind of reconnect and ground us in ʻāina and what we want to do for our children and be the example. So as you know, Kanaka, part of our worldview is to not separate ourselves from Aina, but to really deepen that connection, you know, have that respect and that pilina, that relationship to the land, to the oceans, to our kaiolu, our communities, to kind of deepen our understanding on what's going on, you know, start paying attention, not just to the things that are happening on a daily life, but, you know, generationally spanning out the seasons. And that will allow us to really Mālama the things that are happening around us. So it'll give us the opportunity to or kind of come to that understanding of what are we going to do with all the ike that we're seeing and the changes that are happening. So one effort that we've been working on together in a collaborative space is to support Aina-wide understanding of changes in fish spawning cycles and how things are changing, you know, due to climate change or just what is the natural cycles. Through CI, we're able to kako'o a program called Mohala no Konahiki, and we have different cohorts. So one cohort on Hawaii Island with the Meloli'i Ohana, and shout out to all of their efforts that they're doing good stuff. And then this next one is reaching out to Lawai'a and practitioners across the main Hawaiian islands in the Nakai Evaluate, the different the oceans that connect us. So this effort and the different communities, and then be able to elevate this ike, elevate the Kanaka Science to a level where it would be, you know, more accessible and, I hate to say accepted, but, you know, in that way respected amongst different knowledge systems, researchers at academic institutions, you know, our state friends at the state, in the government system. So all of that to say, this is an effort that we've been working on. And I'll let Uncle kind of dive more into some of these guiding principles that he'll explain that kind of help to frame the science and the observations that we're seeing. Yeah, hand it over to Uncle Matt.
Okay, so thanks for the introduction, Karen, and aloha everybody for joining us. And I'm going to talk about some of these guiding principles that I use, and I hope that, you know, in sharing this, that you guys can adopt some of this stuff too, because actually it's stuff that is related to the practice and your interaction with nature. Yeah. So it's stuff that I always keep in mind when I go holo. It's almost like the spiritual part that I participate in for myself. So we're going to talk about time, place, boundaries, hierarchy, and regeneration. So time, to me, is the most important thing out of these 5 principles. Time tells us when to go, yeah? And all this stuff we're going to talk about is related to holo practices, yeah, Lawai'a practices. So this is what the time does for us. And we use all these natural cues that come from nature, like the moon, the sun, and the earth. They already stay there. They're never going to disappear, I hope. But we use that as part of what helpful time, yeah. Basically, in a simple way, it's just night and day, yeah. Sometimes the moon is dark, sometimes the moon is light. The sun come out, gonna be daytime. The sun go down, gonna come nighttime. You know, simple stuff like that. But you can take them further if you like, and you know, use time to calibrate the different species when they, you know, go through different events. So time is a really valuable part of this, part of our practice. Yeah, when to go, the right time to go. Pretty much is what I talked about. Okay, place. You know, place and boundaries can kind of be similar, but I like to separate them because place is more about the physical place, the name of the aina that you're using, yeah, and your place actually, it's your place that you're supposed to use. No go in the other guy's place. No go away someplace else. You take your place, you don't need to go no place else. So this is what we will understand as love by our raising in, the indigenous way. So place and boundary can be similar. Like I said, boundaries, land boundaries, our system, you have the natural boundaries, and it's all mostly all physical. But there's a lot of boundaries that I keep in mind when I go holo holo, and those boundaries are what we should do and what we shouldn't do, yeah, or what we can do and what we shouldn't do. So they become boundaries too, yeah. And we just gotta keep in mind that there's a line for everything that we do. There's a line, and sometimes we're not supposed to cross the line. We're supposed to know when it is, appropriate for us to do that, when it's not. So that's what boundaries are about. And boundaries can be like for regulations and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, just to give you an idea, and I think you guys get them. So now we're gonna move to hierarchy. Yeah. So hierarchy the way I look at hierarchy in practice when I go is, in the ocean, the food system, there's a hierarchy in there. And we sit at the top of this food chain that I'm talking about, yeah. So every fish inside there, that's what they represent. They represent food for somebody else, pretty much. And to tell you the truth, that's what I go fishing for. I go in because I'm hungry, I'll eat. But not only that, I'm gonna learn about all this stuff, yeah? And the way I'm gonna learn about this is through the regeneration process, yeah? Because I'm gonna take stuff out of the ocean, yeah? I like to know how I can go back again and collect the same stuff. So with that, we gotta learn about this process, yeah? How they're going to regenerate and repopulate the area, because it's really important. The places that we visit allow this to happen. And if we're going to create that void within this system, we got to make sure that pool cannot stay empty too long, because it's going to get foreign matter, going to come inside and take over. And we're experiencing a lot of that right now with all these invasive species, yeah? So just keep that in mind. So it's really important, all these 5 stuff, for, use as a guide when you go. Some, for me, it's come natural because I've been doing it so long, my whole life. And I hope that, when you guys go to, everybody can kind of like use these principles to guide you, so that you're not just out there just for fun, or come back or take a picture, You get on purpose. You get on purpose for going out there and gather, And you gotta make sure that in line with nature. And this is what it's about. So, and the next part, I'm going to pass on to Pekelo. I think, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. And Kalama the road behind me, it's right next to the highway, the noise. But mahalo Uncle Mac. That was an awesome one, and Karen. So I was going to piggyback what Uncle Mac was talking about regeneration, just so these steps going to help us really be part of the regeneration, be part of it, all these 5 steps. But when you catch your fish, you know how some guys, they catch plenty. Uncle told me, if you catch 100 colas, you don't do all 100. You just do like 10, 15, because hard work, especially if you're by yourself. But make sure you catch you place the right amount of fish on your table, like 10 fish, and make sure they're all good size, nice size, not too small, not baby kind, fork length, in other words, like you guys reading. And yeah, make sure you measure them, get the right exact measurements. And if anybody like Uncle Mac, oh my. And when you open up your fish, you you gotta identify them out. You gotta learn which one is Kane, which one is Wahine. And I'll come back and later explain in the other slides ahead of us, but about the exact Wahines and Kanes, and then you gotta look at the gonad size, and if the Kane one's melting, you know, it's melting, like you, and how the Wahines. You just gotta identify that and keep them all in organization. And know that, you know, like just the size of the gonad as well, you know, small, large, extra large, you know, I'm going to tell you the stages of where the fish stay in. Just like humans, you know, 6 months or 1 month, small bump, and you go, and yeah. I think that was good. Yeah. And also, pay attention to the stomach fat. That's important when you say opening up your fish, and be clean too when you're doing them. You know, you cut through the guts, everything, you know, bust up, come. But so the stomach fat is important too. It really tells you a lot about the fish and where, and also the area you caught them from. It means it's a healthy area, maybe at that time, at that season, at that time, and it tells you the fat going to tell you if the hanal good. Get plenty of fat in the stomach will help out incubate those eggs, and even the what do you call it, kane, the sperm. And it really tells you a lot about, yeah, the more fat, the more better. And yeah, it's a huge indicator of the health of the place. Next slide.
Next slide.
Oh. And pictures is very important. It's for your own data. Always take pictures. Even take more than you need. Then for it's for you. It's for you when you can always go back 5 years from now and always look at exactly what happened that day with the pictures. But always take, you line up your fish and try to number your fish, keep everything in order. And when you open them up, can be confusing too, sometimes. And yeah, the pictures are going to really help you. Yeah, thank you. And the tips is sharp knife. Definitely get on a sharp knife and work fast. You keep that bugger cold, because sometimes you can be opening up the fish, and especially by yourself, cutting them up and the bugger losing temperature, and the things start getting my a little bit the fish. So try get one try get one partner for kokua, because it can be hard. And make sure everything organized like I said, and it can be hard sometimes. So yeah, make sure everything clean. Always when you got them, wash the guts. Okay.
Mahalo, Pekelo.
Yeah, mahalo.
Kala, my internet is kind of funky, so I hear like patchy words, but kala if the slides isn't working good. But yeah, mahalo, Uncle and Pekelo, for kind of sharing and going through the different principles, and talking about regeneration, and we're just focusing on that kind of piece to show the methods of what we stay working on. But as you know, we talk about this this next case study of looking at moi and studying moi. I think you guys can see how the principles apply to all the different of say, and share a little bit about the moi and what the observations Uncle been noticing over the last few years. Okay.
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 No, this is you.
Yeah, this is me. I just gotta know. I gotta turn off my video because my stuff they're funny kind. But yeah, so moi, the kapu for the state. Can you guys hear me? If anybody can just say yes, I know can see people.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, kalamai. So the current kapu closure is from June to August. This is a state law. This coincides with their normal or quote unquote normal spawning time. So the diagram in the middle shows the different stages of moi. And this fish is pretty cool. You know, it starts off as moi li'i. We normally see them in the sandy areas in the fall. And then they grow and they get into the mana moi, or the adult male phase. So they all start off like males, and then they grow bigger into pala moi, which is the hermaphrodite. So that means they're going to change into one wahine, one female, as they reach, you know, a certain size, and that this is the moi stage. And again, summer spawning is their normal time, but in the recent years, Uncle has been seeing some really kind of extended spawning, and these pictures are our story. This is his story. This picture right here just shows live what it looks like, you know, all the mana moi here, and then this one above is the pala moi, and then the very top one is the adult female, the moi. And then now I just gonna hand them over to Uncle to share about what he's been seeing.
Okay, so some of the work that I've been doing over time, long time, is looking at the different stages that the fish go through. But not only that, looking at the abnormal kind of time, yeah? Like for the moi, what I noticed when the season opened during September, you know, I go out and I go catch, and whatever I catch, I'm going to expect. It's automatic. So I've been looking in a fish, and, you know, just like normal, just out. And I've been running across females who are holding eggs that really will look like they just will fall spawn. And normally that's what I do. I go after the spawn and try to make sure that these fish already will, you know, throw the eggs. So this fish, right where the thing's at, who knows? The dark moon, yeah. So, or rather right before the full moon. Anyway, this was taken in 2019. If you guys pay attention closely, because we're going in sequence now. So I found out in 2019, took the picture, yeah, they holding eggs. They just didn't drop the eggs. I could tell that, but I never catch no males. Anyway, the following year, I said, I'm going again. I'll see if this thing will repeat. So in October, the next season, next year, I took some more, I caught some more fish. And the thing actually told me a little bit more, validate more to what I was saying by catching a male and the hermaphrodite. So what you see is the male, actually the male was still milking. I should have showed some of that, but the male was still milking, which saying that they did spawn. The female did spawn and got fertilized. And this hermaphrodite in the middle, the pala moi, is signifying that the spawn is ending. It's going to end because all these males eventually are going to turn female. They're going to turn female. So just go to the next one, next slide. Okay, so this slide is in 2021, this year. And this is like the beginning of the spawn. So if you can see, like it's May, right before the season in Hapu. If you look at the veins on the eggs, the sac, they're pretty full. But when they're full, you can see the thing more defined. Yeah, you go around the sac, the little small skinny veins going around the sac, and they're going to be, you know, very pronounced. I mean, hard to miss. You can mistake that they're ripe and they're going to throw eggs pretty soon. And you can look at the males too. The male's going to be milking at the same time. And that can, validate that it's going to happen. Like it maybe even happening or it's going to happen. Okay. Next. Okay. So actually, Pekelo will talk about this a little bit more, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the similarities, because if you look at what this was caught in Maui, in Hana, Kipuhulu. So just to show you the comparison, yeah, what is coming from Kipuhulu and what is coming from Molokai. Go back to the other slide, Karen. The previous slide, yeah. So this one and the other one saying the same story, yeah. They say the exact same story. But what I found out was the people in Puna was experiencing something a little bit different. They was kind of like behind time, not really up to this stage where we are yet. So their fish is going to, like, I don't know, different events for them, because I guess they get the lava flow over there, the temperature of the water is always warm, I don't know. But that is my explanation. So, but according to the normal temperature of the overall, ʻāina, this is what we're experiencing. So I just wanted to show that, but yeah, Pekelo.
Thank you, Uncle. No, yeah, so being part of this group and learning pretty much being Uncle Mac's bag man with this really Kanaka Science part of it, and it's been awesome. Like learning that, hey, Molokai's fish acting the same as Kipuhulu on, so we all can gather all, we can share knowledge, and I started learning all this, like with Kipuhulu, how we've been learning a lot about the things been egging before and after the season is closed. And that's why in like our CBSFA, we will extend time on the mois and on the closed season. And this really learning on the Uncle Mac really helps me get more info for really back up what we trying to preach to. And I still understanding it, still trying to understand this and learn more, still learning, like I said. Freaking, yeah, it's amazing how Kipuhulu and Molokai right now get this similarity, and we can all share our stories. And being this Uncle, I went a couple days after Uncle, and the thing's in the same stage, the same year, same month. And yeah, it's been awesome. So, and I'm still learning more. And I hope everybody else try this too, really everybody can gather the information and really start being more. Yeah. Thank you. Go.
Yeah, hold on. So I just gonna pause the video, or it's still going actually. But yeah, mahalo for sharing that. That's some of the observations they've been seeing, and this is kind of the next phase. So yeah, continuing on, you're gonna wait for the couple to open. Come September, I think we're going to continue on the work. Harvest a few moi during the open season. But this is another observation. So if you guys remember back in 2020, Uncle was seeing that extended, the moi holding eggs in October, late spawn. So this year in April, Uncle goes down to the sandy shores and seeing the moi li'i coming in. So I don't know if you guys can tell, all of us with, I know more fish eyes, but those of you that can tell, you see that movement in the water, and that's all the moi li'i that is just schooling by the thousands, I think, yeah, Uncle. So it's just something that,
yeah,
you think and then you ask more questions, and it just leads to more questions for us, like what is happening. And then it's not just for you know, food security. I think, yeah, oh, we see all this moi coming in and we think, okay, maybe we're gonna have like choke moi in the future. But I think just for us from like a Kanaka and a Wai'a perspective, we gotta know too how this is gonna affect maybe this next year. Does that mean like go out for pound of moi? No, it also has to do with management. Yeah, so how are we going to ensure this is the right path for, you know, moi security in the next, you know, 7 generations. And so yeah, getting to the future studies, we gonna partner with some researchers that have, you know, technology, and I think there's a benefit for that integrated science. So, you know, foundational values in Hawaii in Kanaka Science, and then merging some of the technologies that are offered to us. So working with Stanford University, they have a researcher, undergrad researcher, that is gonna help us to age the moi li'i. So we're gonna, you know, submitting for a permit right now, and hopefully it goes through. But getting a permit to capture about 20 moi li'i per month in the next few months, and kind of look at them over the next year or so and see what the age of the fish by doing genetics, and also the otolith. The otolith is the ear bone, and kind of crossing those different methods to age the fish. This will help us to understand, yeah, like exactly when that fish was born, and then backtrack the numbers. I'm going to ask Uncle, do you want to share anything about that next phase of the project, and then kind of help to close out?
What I wanted to share about the, you know, the question about, oh, we're going to have more moi. But right now, I still cannot say for sure. But what I can say that these little fishes that are born out of the normal spawning time, they need to adapt. And when I say adapt, they're born into a time that is not normal for them to survive. So they gotta learn how to survive. But because we had warm weather that also was extended, maybe that is why the survivability is, you know, is happening. But I hope in the future, as we continue to do these studies, we can be a little bit more sure and confirm that what we're experiencing, you know, we can say, oh, we're going to have more or less. But right now, we get choke moi. So, yeah, kind of like reviewing what we're talking about, the 5 principles. Yeah, time, yeah, when to go. Place, where to go. Hierarchy, you know, boundaries, you can add boundaries into that. Well, what you can and cannot do, yeah. Hierarchy, the food chain, yeah, the bad boy, the poor by, yeah, all this kind of stuff. You gotta remember there is, all this stuff exists. Yeah, it exists. How you going to interact with all this stuff? Yeah, the regeneration part. Okay, now we can control that. We can control that by leaving them alone. Yeah, leave the fish alone. Like I said, when they're spawning, no go take them. No be greedy. Leave them alone. Go get something else. You're plenty out of fish. So I think I better stop right there. So in closing, yeah, just, you know, Mālama ʻāina, that's all. That's all I like to say. Learn out of Mālama.
Mahalo Uncle Mac, and mahalo Kehau and Pekelo for sharing. We have about 13 minutes left in our time here this evening, so I do want to open it up for questions. If anyone has questions for our awesome presenters, you can put your hand up and take yourself off of mute to ask your question, or type it into the chat. And if you're still thinking about your questions, we have a couple of questions for you from our presenters. So I'm going to type that into our chat right now. Just to think about what is your Aloha ʻāina practice, and what does regeneration look like for you? So if you either have a question or you want to answer those two questions, you can type those into the chat. And Uncle Mac, Auntie Claudia said on the news last night, fishers were saying no more moili'i schools yet.
Yeah, because they never know yet. So we're going to start collecting moili'i after September, after the season open, in other words. And hopefully we get our permit by then. You know, we're not just going out there go. We will respect what our boundaries, you know, and stay within boundaries where we can, you know, everybody can work together and do this thing together, and we all can benefit from this. But we kind of, you know, we kind of taking it upon ourselves to do this work because we don't like wait for other people because nobody will do them and nobody going to do them. We're all going, wow, but nobody going to actually get out there and go do the work. Yeah. So that's why we're trying to initiate over here. And I'm glad that Puna went step up, Kipahulu went step up. You know, it's not an easy job, like Pekelo was saying, but it's necessary for us to be better managers with the knowledge that we're going to gain. Yeah.
And I believe Ward has a question. Ward, go ahead.
Yeah, what I got from that was that since the spawning cycle seems to be shifting a little bit, is there a way to change the state kapu period, either a month earlier or a month or two later, that might help resolve the question?
Yeah, I think Pekelo said it best. Like their plan is suggesting for the Moirus to start the kapu in May rather than June. So that way, like we found the egg sac to be fully developed in May, yeah, just this year. So with that, oh yeah, makes sense, make a lot of sense. And I think we don't need close on out to the extended time to like October and November, or even after August, September, October, and November. I think what we need to do is continue with our work and learn what's going to happen. Because right now it's happening, but we don't know to what scale. Is it like guaranteed it's going to be like this forever? Or is it only for a time being? We don't know that. There's a lot of uncertainties in here. But we're going to be certain after the thing go to the lab. And we're going to make a decision according to that. And hopefully we can teach the state something about not only management, but policy making.
Mahalo.
Can I address that too? So it isn't that easy to just make up and change rules. I think there's different mechanisms, and one being the Chapter 91 process, which is very arduous and time, you know, to go through that. And I think, you know, Kipahulu, Pekelo had mentioned that they're proposing that for their area, but that won't apply to the state. And I think right now, I think in the ledge last year, they're trying to pass a adaptation, a rule just to like have more adaptive management and allowing DAR that flexibility to kind of change things as you see, you know, we're gonna see changes, yeah, like we mentioned. So having that ability to kind of more quickly change something, that's I think the direction that the state, it seems like, is gonna go. And I think it's kind of like going back to the future, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but really that's how our kupuna have survived over the many years here, we have to adapt or else we won't survive. So I think, you know, it's just taking the lessons of our kupuna and how we can start to apply it today. I know we talk about the hierarchy and the governance, it applies to the different levels of management too. So, you know, I think just be mindful that, yeah, we're all governed by government, but we also live within this natural system that actually is telling us how we should be paying attention and listening, how we should live and how we should adapt.
Very good.
Things in the chat. I think Kevin wanted to throw out that according to some of the aquaculture guys we were speaking to about local ia, the Moi and Ama population has declined by about 93% since 1913. And then Emily had some questions. Uncle Mac, does the mama moi always have some eggs? And does the size change based on the moi's reproductive cycle? Also, when I see moi, I only see the mana moi size. How come?
You gotta come on, okay, or keep a hulu. No, I'm joking. I think let me answer the first part. What was the first part again?
Does the mama moi always have some eggs?
No. When they pause spawn, no more eggs. The sacs empty. So yeah, they don't have eggs all the time. And something about the polymoid, what was it? What was the next part to the question?
Does the size change based on the moi's reproductive cycle?
Yeah, I think the size of the gonad does change, yeah. And I think not just the size, what we're noticing, but you know, when we looked at the texture, the color, the veins, all of that kind of is the indicator. And I think it's just amazing how Uncle can tell, because you know, at first glance for me, I would have looked at some of the pictures and be like, oh, they're spawning, you know, just based on what I would see. But then, you know, just kind of diving deeper in his eyes and his like microscope of a maka he has to kind of really look at the nuances of just like the different veins. And I think that's where, you know, just having Uncle kind of share out and also us doing the work too. Yeah, it takes us to keep on doing it to really get ma'a. And one thing to note that different species of fish will have different, it'll look different. So what looks like for moi is going to be different for kole or manini. So it's all relative to the species.
So I wanted to talk about Kevin's question. You know, you can be right, Kevin. And I can back that up. Just to let you guys know what moi was like when I was growing up. At mommy, we said moi li'i come in after the spawning season, come in a fall, and the thing would cover the whole bay of mommy and all the kaeka, all the tidal pools of food with moi li'i. Yeah. And we go in the evening, go with our scoop net and scoop one scoop, throw them in a pakini, and scoop sand and wheel them around so that all the scales come off. And you don't need to even gut them because they don't want nothing in the guts anyway. But yeah, you clean them all up, but then you just fry them. And that was all candy, you know. There was moi li'i every single year that would happen. Since 1988, the thing would disappear. People on Molokai, they wouldn't know that kind of stuff because nobody keep track. Nobody looking that good. And I get that information inside my head, already stuck forever. Because it's something that I would share. This other guy that was down the beach would share with me one day. He said, you know, I saw who was over here taking all my leave, but a bag. And so that's another way I get to measure, you know, these guys experiencing the same thing that I seen. And yeah, it's sad, but we still get plenty more, you know, I mean, considering no more boy leave, but we still get plenty more. But my more decline story.
Uncle Mac, what do you think was the change in 1988?
The guys are scooping up, taking, you know, over harvesting. I don't know what they was doing with them, but obviously they cannot eat them all. So the guy that was camping down the beach, he saw these people. They came with the big bags and they were just scooping all them oily, taking them. And I'm pretty sure they were selling them, you know.
Could it also have been, you know, just like the huge influx of development, and you know, because more they come into the shores and like they're you know, for disturbance. Yeah, they like the sandy areas. They come in to harbor, but then as we see more people disturbing, just the presence of people in one space, it changes and disrupts patterns. So feeding patterns and possible spawning patterns too, because they don't have that area, nursery areas too. Like a combination of all of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, just a quick time check. It is 5:59. So I think it's time to start wrapping up, just to be respectful of everyone's time. But thank you again so much to everyone for joining us tonight. Do each of our speakers want to say any words before we close out?
I'd just like to say mahalo for everybody, you know, tuning in and listening in. I hope you guys can gain something out of this. I know sometimes I talk funny kind, but if you guys can understand what I'm talking about, you know, it's really valuable information that you guys can use. Mahalo.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming and being part of this Zoom meeting. And thank you, Kehau and Uncle Mac, for letting me be part of this. I said nervous, small kind on this kind, but they're learning, figuring it out. Yeah, mahalo to everybody again. Thank you.
Mahalo nui everybody, and Pekelo, you did awesome. You get your ohana here. I see Okajana and Auntie Tweety and Scott and Lemamo. So you're making your kupuna proud. Mahalo kamale too. Aloha. Aloha everybody.
Aloha.
All right, so thanks again, everyone. Next month's speaker series will be Thursday, September 16th at 5 p.m. And our speaker will be Elena Akinaga from the Federated States of Micronesia. So be sure to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, or check our website for more info about that. Auntie Claudia, would you like to say our last words and close us out?
Yeah, just to reiterate that, you know, we're so happy that we are able to offer up these presentations. And again, you know, Uncle Mac, Kehau, Pekelo, awesome job. So much information to share, and we're so grateful. And aloha.
Aloha, everyone. Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Eu, e maui no e ka oi.